Summer's supposed to be the easy season. So why are so many people quietly Googling a therapist between summer Fridays? Because more daylight doesn't fix the hard stuff. Sometimes it just turns the volume up. Grow does therapy differently. Therapy is not only for when you're in crisis. Grow Therapy is here for all the moments when you decide you want more. More support, more clarity, more tools. Mental health isn't a destination you reach, it's something you build, and Grow makes that easier. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/book now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/book now. growtherapy.com/book now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
This is Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque. 17 years on air and online, helping you succeed in buying, selling, and investing in property. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.
Welcome to Real Estate This Week. Hi again, I'm Stephen Gasque, and I hope you're having a great summer. And with that in mind, today, we're headed to the beach to find out what it takes to buy your very own beach house. Sounds good, right? After all, it could be your favorite house ever. And our expert guest today tells us that the key to making it happen is doing your homework before you buy. Joining us now is Stephen Antoni, broker associate with Mott & Chase Sotheby's International Realty in Rhode Island. Stephen served as the president of the Rhode Island Association of Realtors, and he's an expert in the beautiful beach communities of Rhode Island. Stephen, welcome to Real Estate This Week.
Thank you for having me, Stephen.
I am so glad you're here. And so, Stephen, tell me, how's the summer going on the beautiful coast of Rhode Island?
It is going fabulous, as always, this time of year when the trees and the flowers and the birds and the bees and everything are abuzz and the snow is far behind us. We've had some welcome rains lately, but again, as I said, they've been welcome. So it is a beautiful summer here in Rhode Island and all of New England, as far as I can see.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so tell me, is now a good time for a potential buyer to be looking for a beach house on the coastline of Rhode Island and any other beach town?
This is a good time. The dead of the winter is a great time. The beginning of the season is a good time. It's one of those, I think, industry parts that there's not really a bad time.
That's good to know.
You're buying a beach house for yourself, I would say find the beach that you love. Find the style of beach house living that you love. For example, if you love to go to your beach house and get up in the morning and put on a pair of flip-flops and walk down the street to the local coffee shop or breakfast and get something to eat and come back, and then in the afternoon take your bicycle and take a drive down to the beach along the trails or the woods or the dunes or wherever, then there are certain beaches, obviously, you're going to look for. If you just buy a beach house because it says it's a beach house and you think it's a great price, and then you get there and it's like, well, geez, and there's supermarkets, 40 miles away, and there's no place to go grab a sandwich or get takeout that's within a half an hour range. So I guess I should have put more thought into this. So I would say start the thinking process now, identify the beach or beaches or beach areas that you want to concentrate on, and methodically move forward. Keep an eye on the pricing trends, keep an eye on what's happening in the insurance market, keep an eye on what's happening legislatively. And I guess the same rule would hold true for an investment property, something you were going to buy specifically to use as an Airbnb rental or as a short-term rental, and maybe you're going to close it up in the winter, or, as is the case here in Rhode Island, a lot of our beach properties in the winter turn into college properties and they're rented to college students. So it's pretty much a full year rental. But in that case, do you mind a condensed neighborhood where maybe there isn't a lot of privacy? Do you mind being close to a highway where it's easy transit for people coming in and out? But, if you lived there, you wouldn't be crazy about the road noise. So again, make a plan and get some information and start doing that today, even if your plan is to buy in the next 2 years.
Excellent. So it sounds to me like step number one is having a long vacation in the place where you're interested in buying a property and doing not just sunning and swimming on the beach, but also do a lot of homework about, as you said, the price points and the locations and the rules when you buy a beach property.
Yeah, and Steve, think about it. When you go to the beach, and I'm not talking about you personally, but I guess I'm saying you euphemistically. When you go to the beach, what do? Do you swim? Do you fish? Do you surf? Do you just lay in the sand and people watch and get a suntan? Do you snorkel? Do you bring your kids? And then put that into context with the beaches that are around. Well, this one's a real rocky beach, but I don't go swimming anyway. So this, I might get a better deal here because it's not a swimmable beach and I'm just a lay on the beach, suntan, people watch person. Or do I want that beach that has a string of lifeguards up the coast and there's a kid area, there's a snack bar, there's, amenities, there's pool, plenty of parking and things like that? Or do I like to go fishing when I'm at the beach? Now, you can't really go to a state beach that people are swimming in and start casting into the surf. So again, think about it. Make the thought process. It's too many people you hear saying, yeah, I got a great beach house. The only thing is, I go down on the beach and the dogs are running around and people are fishing and there's no place to grab a burger or a dog or anything. And it's like, well, you don't say this to them, but, didn't you kind of check it out before you bought it?
A really, really great suggestion, Stephen. And now let me ask you about another aspect of buying a beach house. Now, we all know that the beautiful homes right on the beach are going to be the most expensive. So tell me, let's start there. If I wanted to buy the typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that's right on the beach with nothing in between me and the blue sea, how much would I be paying?
It depends on, do you want to walk out your back door on a beach and go right into the surf? Do you want to be able to cast off of the back of your thing? Or do you just want that ocean view? And maybe you've got, boulders the size of pianos piled up against the back end of your property that go right into the water. So, water view, ocean front means different things to different people. If you're looking for that beach house where you can open the slider and you're on sand and you walk out and 50 to 100 feet or whatever, you're actually in the ocean. You're gonna pay million plus for a house like that in just about any ocean side. And the more populated it is, when you get to places like your stomping grounds like Block Island, when you get there, if you could find anything that had a sand approach to one of the beaches there, you're talking $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 million. And I'm talking not the Taj Mahal either.
Right. Now, seeing that is big, big money, how about a block back, 10 blocks back, maybe even more? I mean, you're technically in a beach community, but you're not right on the sand. How about that, Stephen?
Again, you can probably find stuff in a beach community right now. To give you an example, in Rhode Island, June this year, our median home price for anything, median home price was $550, which
Wow.
means of course half the house is sold for less than $550, half sold for more than $550. So if you take that as let's say an indicator, You want to be in a beach community, whether it be year-round or seasonal. Now, that's another question that comes up. There are several beach communities in this state, as I'm sure there are in many other states, that are only open from May to October. After that, everything gets shuttered, the streets get closed down, the water gets shut off, the electricity, there's no access to those places. So again, different price point, different type of living. But if you're looking for a year-round beach cottage within a bicycle ride to the beach, and most of your lots are going to be the size of a postage stamp, you can probably find something like that in a nice beach area for south of $1 million, maybe 600 even, maybe if it needs a lot of work, maybe even 550. But again, you're buying that prime real estate because of its proximity to the shoreline. So I would say 750 should be your starting point.
And earlier in our conversation, you mentioned some very important points, including the price of insurance. What's happening with that, Stephen?
Let me get my crystal ball out. Hang on a second. No, for many, many, many years, the only way you could get flood insurance was through the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP. And it was almost silly because they would only cover, like $250,000 worth of damage. And it was premiums set by the National Flood Insurance Program. So you had no alternative. If you were getting financing, you had to have that NFIP insurance. Now, other insurance companies have gotten in the game, and if the mortgage company that you're using, should you have a mortgage, will allow, sometimes they're local banks, if they will allow that, then you can get some private flood insurance, Lloyd's of London being one of them, and a lot of the bigger names, but even some local, in Newport, I think Bank Newport offers a flood insurance program for people who are obviously financing through them. And it actually covers more than the 250 that the NFIP did. But it's an important consideration when you're looking at a beach house, because you may have $1 million to plop down on that house. And when you plop it down, you own the house. And
Right.
if you're on the ocean and you want to have insurance to insure against wind, sea, and everything else that goes with an ocean, you need a flood insurance program. If you're in an AE zone, which means absolutely expensive. No, it doesn't really mean that. But if you're in a high wind velocity AE zone or VE zone, you might be looking at a monthly insurance of several $1,000s a month. Now,
Wow.
Add that to the fact that the local town where that house is located is probably valuing that house at what it's worth. So now you're in the millions of assessed value, and now you got to pay taxes on that million plus value. And other states have done this, but Rhode Island just passed what they're naming the Taylor Swift tax, because Taylor Swift bought a house here in Rhode Island for $18 million right on the water. And they're calling it the Taylor Swift tax. And if you have a house that is assessed at more than $1 million, assessed, so this is up to the 39 different cities and towns in Rhode Island. If it's assessed at more than $1 million, you're paying an extra tax just on that amount over $1 million as well.
Wow.
So add those things up, and it's not just like, well, hey, I got $1 million. I'm going to plop it down on this beach house right on the water. This is great. Well, now you're going to get a bill maybe for $10,000 to $20,000 a month for taxes and insurance, flood insurance, not even regular insurance included. So it can be expensive. So
well,
again,
I would just
do
say,
the planning.
Stephen, I would just comment that anyone who is listening to our conversation who is still interested in an oceanfront property in Rhode Island, I would caution you to just pull over your Aston Martin, pull over the Bentley, and take notes.
Well, but you know what? if those people are listening, which I'm sure they are, I'm sure your audience is well read. They probably could care less about an extra 10 or 20 G's a month for insurance, taxes, what else? That might be their wine budget, um, so again, it's not to scare anybody from doing it, and they're not all like that, but it's just to say, have a plan. Get your plan together, because that one ocean front facing this direction is going to cost you X amount of dollars, where if you go across the street, still on the ocean, but facing this direction, might be half of that.
Now, Stephen, tell us quickly about some of the complexities of owning a property at the beach and not just using it for you and your family, but renting it out.
Complexities. Well, and let me first preface this by saying, as a kid growing up, my dad bought a beach house, and it wasn't fashionable back in the 60s, I guess. I'm dating myself here, but wasn't necessarily fashionable. And I think he paid $7,500 for this beach house. And it was, your typical, ramshackle house. It was probably moved from one town to another, and it got plopped about 100 yards from the shore. But as kids growing up, we were bicycles. We'd drive down to the beach. We'd have campfires down at the end of the street, low tide. We'd be picking mussels off the rocks. So, I mean, it was a great world as a kid growing up. But now it got to be very, wow, I want to have a second home. I want to have a beach house. And that's great. And, it's brought more people down there. It's brought more commerce down there. It's brought, a great place to be, entertainment, lodging, everything else. So it's great for the economy. It's great for the world. But you still can buy a beach house. Like, for example, the one I mentioned here, you could probably buy a house down the street from where that house was that I spent every summer as a kid, for probably $500-600, and get all the use out of it you want in the summer. And then if you want to Airbnb it or, turn it into a short-term rental, you certainly can do that as well, as long as you, play by the rules. Which are, there's taxing, you get taxed on income, and follow the rules of, if you're on a septic system and it's meant for a 2-bedroom house, you're not renting it out to 20 people that are pulling up their RVs and popping up tents in the backyard. And then the next thing you know, the house is floating down the street.
And once again, this brings us back to your key advice is to do your homework ahead of time before you buy anything, whether it's just for you and your family or you hope to rent it out. Well, Stephen, I really want to thank you for telling us all about the ins and outs of buying a beautiful beach house along the coast of Rhode Island. And I hope you have a beautiful summer there.
I hope you do as well, and thank you for remembering me. We've been friends for a long, long time, and I hope we are friends for a long, long time.
A long, long time. Thank you, Stephen, and take care.
You too.
Stephen Antoni, broker associate with Mott & Chase, Sotheby's International Realty in Rhode Island, and the past president of the Rhode Island Association of Realtors. Next time on Real Estate This Week, the need for speed. Sometimes a job or school makes you have to buy or sell your home super fast. We'll show you how and how to do it right. That's next on Real Estate This Week. And until then, I'm Stephen Gasque, and thank you for listening.
A brand new episode of Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque drops every weekend, everywhere. And you're invited to listen, subscribe, and follow us. Just look for Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.
That refresh you've been putting off until the right deal came along? It's here! Wayfair's Black Friday and July sale is happening now, so you can finally get the style you've been waiting for less. Get up to 80% off area rugs and up to 60% off outdoor and bedroom furniture. Shop Wayfair's huge selection of styles and find the piece to fit your style, budget, and space. Plus, free shipping. Black Friday in July ends July 27th. Shop today at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.